Martha was the good daughter. She was the one who obeyed her parents. She's the one who always invites you to her house and fusses over you until you finally eat something. She's the one who always says yes. She always accepts, and she's always taking care of other people above herself. Sound familiar? Well, if you think about it, I mean, Martha was coming from a pretty ragtag family. I mean, she's got this sister Mary, and there's some rumor of if she's had a sordid past or not. She's got this brother who was sick and died, and then miraculously was brought back to life by this guy named Jesus. Jesus actually spent quite a bit of time in Martha's home, and the Bible says that Martha invited Jesus into her home. I imagine that Martha probably spent a lot of time in the kitchen. When I was growing up, the kitchen was the place to be, like especially during a holiday. All the women were in there, all the information, all the news, all the gossip, all the everything you needed to learn. It's right here in the kitchen. It's funny how there are certain places that teach us something about what it means to be a woman. I think the kitchen, it teaches you that one thing that you do as a woman is you take care of other people, right? You take care of other people, you sacrifice yourself, you're gonna make sure everybody else is taken care of. My grandma used to always say, whenever she'd, cook a big meal for us, we'd ask her, Grandma, don't you need anything to eat? Don't you want anything? And she'd say, you never have to worry about the cook, right? Well, a lot of us probably live our lives like Martha. See, Martha was a doer. There's a couple of stories in the Bible where we find Martha having an interesting moment. And this one here, where we find her in the kitchen, is actually coming after we find her in this moment with Jesus, where she runs out to him after seemingly he let her brother die. I mean, hey, they knew Jesus was the Son of God, right? They had been calling for him to come because her brother was sick, and he didn't show up until 4 days later. Martha was the first one to meet him. She met him and grabbed onto him and said, Lord, if you'd been here. See, Martha had it all figured out up here. And I hate to say it, but when I read her story, I just kind of hear in the back of what she's saying some things I say. Like, I kind of get upset with God when he won't go ahead and just tell me what's going on. And I want to know. I don't want to know just step 1, step 2. God, just go ahead and tell me like step 1 through 17. I'm good. That's all I want to know. I just want to know everything you're going to do, exactly how you're going to do it, constantly trying to figure it out, constantly have all the details and all these different things in my head. I'm trying to figure out how to do all this, Well, of course, Jesus came through, right? He raised her brother from the dead, and then we find Martha in the kitchen. Lazarus is there. The Bible says he was reclining with Jesus, which in my language says he was chilling. Her sister is there. She's at Jesus' feet listening. Martha is in the kitchen, and you know how it's hot in the kitchen when you're in there cooking, you're sweating, the oven's on. She's making it happen. And I'm sure there were more people in there than just the 3 of them, right? She's making sure everybody gets fed, everybody's happy, and she finds herself frustrated. Once again, she's the one having to hold it all together. And I kind of see Martha pushing that kitchen door, running through that kitchen door. You know how you have the one that kind of swings open? She pushes it open and she goes to Jesus again and says, seriously, Jesus, can you tell my sister to come in here and help me? And I'm sure underneath that is also, and Lazarus, I know you were just raised from the dead and all. Can you wash a dish? Can you pick up something around here? Don't you see me, Jesus, working so hard? Don't you see me giving so much? Don't you see me sacrificing? Aren't you gonna make everybody else help? 'Cause I'm tired, right? I've given just about everything I think I can give. Martha's like so many of us. We just keep giving and giving and giving, on empty, on fumes. And Jesus looks at Martha and he says something to her that still just kind of cuts me to the core, He says to her, you are worried over many things. And when we worry, When we're always about doing, when we're our own version of Martha, the more we're worried over our many things, the more we're not trusting God, right? And the other thing that I kind of get from Martha's life is sometimes we get our identity from what we do. We're a good cook, we're a mom, we're a wife, we're a good employee, we're a good businesswoman, we're a good thinker, we're beautiful. We get our identity and our worth from those things. And all of those things I just named are not who you are. I want you to imagine if you were a house. I used to do this when I was a teenager. I would imagine if I was a house and let's say my soul or my heart was like a home. Who are the people that get full access? Who are the people that only get to come into the living room or only get to sit on the porch, right? I think Jesus is asking for all access. He wants the master key to all of those rooms. He doesn't just want a segment. He doesn't just want to actually come into the kitchen. He wants to see the whole thing. He wants to see all of who you are. And I think that's important for us as women because sometimes it's so easy to find our identity and our worth in the things we do and the things we do well. But Jesus is asking Martha to come in a little closer. And it's interesting. The Bible says she invited him into her home. But I think Jesus, he wanted that invitation into her heart.
Well, just recently in my life, I felt things kind of spiraling out of control in a health situation. And the pain was overwhelming. I couldn't see, I couldn't think. And I found the things that I valued most about myself. I thought I was an intercessor for people. I couldn't even pray. The pain was so bad. I valued being able to think and make decisions and was not able to think or make decisions. I valued serving others. And I was really upset with God. I'm like, God, I have obeyed you. I have done everything that you've asked. Why am I getting this health complication? My life was confined to one dark, quiet room and curled up in a ball. And I was just at the end. And I was like to God, okay, God, when are you going to heal me? I'm waiting for this. And it seems like as I waited for doctor to doctor, it just kept getting worse. To the point I just said to God, God, I have no value. There is nothing in me that has value anymore. It was the worst pain, and I had put headphones on just to listen to the radio because I couldn't even read my Bible to try to find some hope and strength. On the radio came a program called Joni and Friends. And Joni was in the studio with her husband. And her husband shared how much he loved her. And God showed me that even with physical limitations, that my value is not placed on what I can do, but on the price that he put on my life. And just as Joni's life was paralyzed, she had a purpose. And my prayer then was, Lord, what is your truth for me? And give the doctors wisdom for truth. But I am not going to depend upon doctors anymore. I'm going to depend upon you. And I'm not going to give in to Satan's lie and fear, which held me so prisoner so long. But Lord, I'm going to focus on you. And God, I believe that you can redeem the moments, the days that I am in this dark room. And Lord, you are right there. And God, even when I can't cling to you, I know that you cling to me. And God has been faithful. And I've gone from counting the days that I'm without pain on one hand to just counting the days that I have pain on one hand. And I know that there's no quick fix, and I may have more days, but I just trust him that he is sovereign and he will meet me, and he is so faithful. And I'm just very thankful.
I think one thing Jesus wants us to get is that we're never going to get our worth from what we do. There's only one place we're going to get our worth, and that's from him. So today, let's kind of take some lessons from Martha. Maybe ask ourselves a couple of questions. First one, which in a sense, Jesus may have been asking underneath his statement to Martha. What are the many things that you're worrying over? What are the things that you're fussing about? You're worried over all the details, all the distractions. What is that stuff? And take that stuff and bring it to Jesus. The Bible says that we can cast our cares on him. And the Bible says that if we come upon something and we don't know what to do, to ask God. And he doesn't resent us asking. And one thing I can respect about Martha, she was honest with Jesus. But I think there was another level after her being honest. There was this other level of her being able to say, God, I don't have this all figured out. That statement is harder for me to say than I'm sorry. It is hard for me to just admit, I don't have this figured out. Find out whatever those things are for you. Whatever the things are that you're just sure you've got the plan. You're sure you've got all the steps, but you're worrying over it. You're distracted over it. What are those things? Take those things and bring them to the feet of Jesus. The other thing that we want to think about, sometimes it can be really easy to get distracted by doing a lot of good things. I know I, for one, have been distracted by actually doing things for God. And I spent more time doing things for God than I did just being with him. And Jesus was saying, I love that you can do things. Doing things is great. But he told Martha, your sister has chosen what's more important. So I want you to think of some ways that you can just be with God. Not distracted, not thinking of all these things you need to do today, not thinking about everything's got to be vacuumed and you got to take your daughter to her sports game and how you got to make sure everything gets done for work. Find a space where you can consistently just be with God. You're not going to turn away from being Martha overnight. It's going to be a constant journey. It's going to happen, you know? I think the beautiful thing about it is that you can accept Jesus' invitation at any time. He's saying, come here and be with me. I think that's something that you should definitely add